Most people spend their entire lives believing that intelligence is one single thing that you either have it or you don't. But what if everything you were taught about being smart was completely wrong? What if the reason you've been underestimating yourself or the wrong people is because no one ever told you the full picture? Psychology doesn't measure intelligence the way schools do. It goes deeper, it goes wider. And what it found will genuinely change the way you see yourself and everyone around you. There are not one, not two, but 5 distinct types of IQ, and the 5th one is so rare that most people live and die without ever developing it. So let's break all 5 down, right now, because by the end of this, you're going to look at your own mind in a completely different way. The first type is Analytical IQ, and this is the one most people are familiar with. It's the intelligence that gets measured on standardized tests, the kind that shows up in logical reasoning, pattern recognition, and problem solving. People with high analytical IQ can break complex information into smaller parts, spot inconsistencies, and find solutions faster than others. It's the intelligence of the mathematician, the scientist, the coder. But here's the important thing psychology makes very clear. This is only one dimension of the human mind. Scoring low on this does not mean you are unintelligent. It simply means your intelligence lives somewhere else. Because the brain is not a one-room house, it's an entire mansion. And society has been obsessing over just one room while the rest of the mansion sits unexplored, full of abilities that never got a name, never got a grade, and never got the recognition they deserved. The second type is Creative IQ, and this one is far more powerful than people give it credit for. Creative intelligence is the ability to generate original ideas, to connect things that have never been connected before, and to see possibilities where others only see dead ends. Psychology describes this as divergent thinking, the brain's capacity to produce multiple solutions from a single starting point. While Analytical IQ narrows things down, Creative IQ opens them up. Research from the University of California has found that individuals with high creative intelligence show significantly higher activation in the default mode network of the brain, the same region associated with imagination, future thinking, and self-reflection. In other words, creative people aren't distracted. Their brains are working on a frequency most people can't even tune into. The third type is Emotional IQ, and if you've heard of emotional intelligence before, you already know this one hits differently. Emotional IQ is the ability to recognize, understand, manage, and influence emotions, both your own and those of the people around you. People with high emotional IQ don't just feel things deeply. They understand why they feel what they feel, and they use that awareness to navigate relationships, conflicts, and pressure with a kind of quiet grace that others find almost magnetic. Psychology consistently links high emotional IQ to better mental health outcomes, stronger relationships, and greater professional success, not because these people are soft, but because they are self-aware in a way that gives them an edge in almost every human interaction. And perhaps the most underrated truth about emotional IQ is this: it can be developed. Unlike some traits you are born with and cannot change, emotional intelligence grows every single time you choose self-reflection over reaction and empathy over ego. Now, before we get to the 2 rarest types, and trust me, you do not want to skip what's coming if this is already making you rethink what intelligence really means. Drop a comment below telling me which type you think you have the most of. And if you know someone who has always been told they're not smart enough, share this with them. Because what you're about to hear might be the thing that finally makes them see themselves clearly. The 4th type is Social IQ, and this is where things start to get rare. Social intelligence is not just about being friendly or likable. It's a sophisticated ability to read social environments accurately, understand the unspoken dynamics in a room, adapt your behavior in real time, and influence group outcomes without force. People with high social IQ seem to always say the right thing at the right moment. They understand group psychology intuitively. They know when to speak, when to stay silent, when to push, and when to pull back. Psychologists describe this as a kind of social radar, an almost unconscious ability to decode the invisible rules that govern human behavior in groups. It's rarer than analytical IQ, but in the real world, it's often more powerful. What makes social IQ especially fascinating is that it operates beneath the surface of every single conversation you have. Every time you walk into a room and instantly sense the tension, or notice someone is performing happiness, they don't actually feel that is social IQ at work. Most people dismiss these signals. People with high social IQ collect them. And then there is the fifth type. The rarest of all is existential IQ. Existential intelligence, first introduced within the broader framework of Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences, is the capacity to think deeply about the fundamental questions of human existence. What is the purpose of life? Why do we suffer? What happens after we die? What does it mean to be conscious? Most people encounter these questions and feel uncomfortable, so they change the subject or distract themselves. But individuals with high existential IQ sit inside these questions. They don't run from the void, they explore it. They are the philosophers, the visionaries, the spiritual thinkers, the ones who seem to carry a quiet depth that others can sense but cannot fully explain. This type of intelligence is so rare because it requires a level of psychological courage that most minds never develop. It asks you to face uncertainty without needing a quick answer. It asks you to be comfortable with the unknown, and in a world that is constantly rushing, constantly consuming, constantly distracting, that is the rarest thing of all. People with existential IQ don't just live their lives, they examine them. They are always asking a deeper question underneath the surface question. And that single habit, that relentless pursuit of meaning, is what sets them apart from nearly everyone else on Earth. Here's what psychology ultimately wants you to understand. Intelligence is not a single line that ranks human beings from dumb to smart. It is a multi-dimensional landscape, and every person on this planet has a unique combination of these 5 types. The problem is that society only ever celebrated one of them. And in doing so, it made billions of people feel less than they truly are. The student who couldn't pass an exam but could read a room perfectly, that was social IQ being ignored. The child who never stopped asking why and what's the point of everything, that was existential IQ being dismissed as overthinking. The artist who failed every standardized test but created things that moved people to tears, that was creative IQ being graded by the wrong ruler. Now you know better. Now you can see your own mind and the minds of the people around you with far more accuracy and far more compassion. So tell me in the comments, which of these 5 types do you think is your strongest, and which one do you most want to develop? Because awareness is always the first step, and you just took it. Like this video if it made you see intelligence differently. You never know whose life this might change.